Our next speaker is going to touch the following subjects. Where is the cloud market heading? What are the major trends in 2018? The cloud market is changing, as we've also heard from Angers, and adapting to a sustained growth driven by companies' exponential needs for computing and for the business outcomes that the computing delivers. What are the risks and what are the opportunities for you in this context? Let's look into this. That's what we're going to be talking about. So I was just talking to Laurent Allard before he comes onto stage, and he told me one fascinating thing. At OVH, they have 9 people full-time dedicated to scanning the horizon, looking at what's coming, crunching data, taking all the marketing feeds from all the big consulting companies, Forrester, IDC, and the others, but also looking at their partner base, looking at every source of data they can find on the market, and they're crunching all this down. They're using AI to anticipate where the market's heading. They're doing what we're talking about for their business. Now, I have one word for that. Well, I have 2 words. The second word is smart, and the first one is very. Let's all be inspired what you can do by taking some of the world-class thought leadership ideas that Laurent is going to present to us. So please, a big CloudFest welcome for Laurent Allard, who is the Executive Board Member and Head of Strategic Development, Vice Chairman of OVH. Laurent, please join me on stage.
Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, so it's a challenge to be the last one, and it's a challenge for you to listen to the French accent. So we have 2 options. We can do it in French, okay? Or you accept the French accent. Okay, let's talk about the future of the cloud. So it's not an easy topic to do it in 20-25 minutes. So I will go short to the key points vis-à-vis the explosion of this market, this industry, and how does it translate in terms of opportunities, in terms of risk, but also how the market is evolving, what's going on. So starting with an evidence, but it's always important to keep in mind that this transformation is exponential. And when you look at the figures, 40% of data explosion, data growth each and every year. It means that every 2 years, we double the data that we have to store and manage. If you look at the IT legacy, we still have 75 to 80% of workload for enterprises still on-prem. So the transition from enterprise on the legacy is still at the very beginning. And we see every single day new digital services coming up, startup companies. Every single day we see new business being developed. And it's all in all, everywhere in the world, it's lead to a big revolution, meaning that we transform in a radical way. So look at data element first. Where we are today, we are just at the very, very beginning of the curve. This industry, yes, PaaS, is about 40 plus, roughly 43 billion euro last year as a total spend worldwide. In the next 8 years, we'll have 10x growth worldwide on this industry. 10x in 8 years. It's unbelievable. It's very exponential. I sum up the IaaS and PaaS, not considering the SaaS, not considering the services that you are providing as an IT service company. I'm talking about the core infrastructure services and associated PaaS. 10x in 8 years. Now, if you have a look where this growth is coming from, in terms of geography, the mix, today, the dominant part of the market is North America. It's far more than 50%. US only is more than 50% of the total spend on cloud. If you look at Europe, if you look at the rest of the world, it's small, but we have opportunity for growth, and it will grow. Now, if we forecast, what does that mean for 2025? US will still be the number one country, but it will not be the most growing segment of geography. The biggest growth will come from the rest of the world. If you look at China, if you look at India, we have tons of opportunities that we see which have been materialized today to develop very fast new services. I would like to focus one point on this rest of the world, which is Africa. Africa today is almost nowhere. We don't see Africa today in terms of spend. If you look at 2025, we don't know exactly the figures, but it will be a significant part. But if you look a little bit forward, it will be a big part. Why? Because they can't wait all of the classic way of fixing their demographic explosion. Africa, in the next 20-25 years, will double the number of people living in Africa. If you imagine to double the number of citizens, you don't have enough money, infrastructure, teacher, truck and road and everything to just organize the training and the education of the young teenager and young people who will come and the youngest generation. You need to move to digital. So they will have to skip to the digital because it's needed. You don't double the number of citizens without jumping to the new technology because it's needed, as they have done for the payment, moving very fast to mobile payment instead of going for check and credit card. So all of this rest of the world, it's a huge set of opportunities with different new applications, services, infrastructure that we'll have to build over time. So it gives us a perspective. So last but not least, Europe, we estimate an annual growth of 32% in the next 8 years, which is very sizable. It's more than the growth of the US. So Europe is still an interesting market to be in. And I think when we look afterwards on who is in this market, you will see that we have a good spot to develop attractive business for all of this industry. Looking now on the profile of the client on this curve, focusing now up to 2020. Today, if you look at the spend, SMB is number one, and if you look at SMB plus SOHO, meaning all of the company below 250 employees, it's about 70%. 70% of the spend on the cloud is done by companies less than 250 employees. So when we say the cloud enterprise adoption is great, big buzz, no. It just started. It will move up. They will grow for sure, but they are just started. Adoption of the cloud is very much based on small, mid-sized company having an immediate interest, limited or no legacy, and a lot of mindset ready to jump into the new type of services, cloud-based. On the opposite, mid and large have legacies. And I fully understand, I've been CIOs of large organizations for a while. You don't have a business case, easy to do, just to write off your data center which has been built a few years ago. And that's normal. And all of the application you still have mainframe, you still have Unix, you still have different type of flavors of your systems. You don't replace all of this overnight. So the movement, the transition starts, and we have very clear information to confirm that it started, but it will take time. We see a split in 2021 where probably mid and large will start to be in an exponential growth compared to the SMB market. But SMB will still be a very attractive domain. So that's for the context. Now, if you look from a provider standpoint, how the market is transforming. For many years, over the last 10 years, we have seen companies being yes, PaaS provider. We are an infrastructure provider. We provide hardware, we provide services, we provide network, storage. Other, and we have a lot in the room, have been specialized on web hosting. And we have additional services, but based on the web. And we have seen telco with sometimes some bridge in between, which was treated as a separate domain. What's going on today? We have a split of the infrastructure business in two groups. The tier one are those providing global solutions where scale is very important, SLA and service are very important, and they need to be certified, they need to support the growth of the company, and they need to do it globally. The second group is tier two, is about focusing on a specific segment, best value, tech, perf, and the level of services is different in terms of expectation. And we see a lot of startups coming to this type of services and offering because it's attractive, it's cost-effective, it's performant, and sometimes they have an issue to grow, but at least they can develop and enjoy a technology at cost. And we have a third emerging group, which is now digital services. For those who don't want to build, but just want to use a service, and they want to use with added value, they have more and more packaged solutions to deliver a service for a particular vertical or particular size of companies. And you see the transformation of players like the GoDaddy offering, the one-on-one offering, and other packaging application solution to use as is in an easy way, a one-stop type of approach, and it's all about digital services. And recently we have seen also digital services coming from the telco. So the frontier between telco and digital services is changing between hardware and network, physical network component versus the added value services that we can package as part of this middle section, the digital. So this is a transformation, and you see transformation of brands associated to that. You have AWS on the top, Lightsail, as we have OVH, and so you start Kimsufi. So we see a differentiation of brand, and we have announced last year at OVH that we are going to structure all of our offering on 3 brands to target the tier 1, the tier 2, and digital services. So because we have different needs, it addresses different market segments. Okay. Because we have different needs, it's very important not to keep the syndrome of one size fits all. If you have different needs, we have different solutions, different providers, it's important to keep in mind that you have more than likely needs for selective approach to your cloud investment. The simple model you have here, the pyramid, is to classify your needs in 3 categories. What is visible on the top is business innovation. And what is needed, it has to go fast, go to market. I want my competitors is doing something very smart. I want to be in 3 months at the same level. Do it. Don't wait 2 years, a long project. Do it now, fast. Second part of the pyramid is the core business. It's everything you have developed. You need to keep it. It's your business. And you want to make it secure, and you want to scale. And you want to keep also the transition in hybrid mode between what is still in the legacy and what we have transferred to the environment, to the cloud environment. But you want to keep control of the cost. And compliance is key because you will have also to be fully aligned with your business if you need health certification or PCI DSS, or if you need any other certification because of your business, you need to find a provider adapted. And the third group is back office. And what we see now, it's not an IT issue, it's very much a business issue. How much of HR are still considering a good project to develop a payroll, to develop a talent management system, or whatever type of basic functions, they want to use it. And they are pushing the IT to find an external provider, a SaaS provider. Big transformation. They want easy to use, cost, and performance. Because we have these different needs, we have different clouds and different solutions. So the classification in three groups, some are very good in providing solutions for innovation. Some are very good for providing a solution for hybrid. Some are very good to provide easy-to-use type of building blocks. But when I discuss with IT managers and say, I've started for innovation with this provider, so I will keep it for all of my cloud strategy. Why? Why you just limit the selection of your provider to a single shop if there is a need for diversity? So we need to take care of this because the needs are different, the solutions are different, the engagement model is different. So this is, with this overview of the market transformation, this is a good intro now to talk about what does that mean from an industry's perspective. For those who are providing the cloud services as OVH, as a lot of competitors, and maybe some of you in the room, what's going on in terms of industry transformation? So the starting point I want to highlight is you have in this industry a lot of challenges around more services, more investment, more technology, which is requested for additional managed services, additional capacity, additional security features, additional compute and storage and refresh of this technology. So it's more and more and more. That's the dilemma we are in this industry. And how it becomes a real challenge is because you have a big question mark between what I'm going to manage as priority number one, my CapEx investment or my OpEx investment. And it's very difficult to do both and to get, at the end, your EBITDA at the right level of what is expected in terms of margin. The profitability is at risk if you need to do much more on OpEx, to deliver much more managed services, people cost, and much more hardware investment. And more we see that it's becoming a very big challenge that we can't face. So what's the solution? In fact, we have worked since a couple of years now with very concrete cases to see this iceberg model, we can challenge it. And the way to challenge is to cut CapEx and transform in OpEx the infrastructure where you host your environment, focusing more on added value services. So you reduce your cost on the infrastructure part, and you get more capacity to differentiate yourself on the type of added value services, applications, managed services, verticals, and so on. And there is, with the 10x growth, a lot of cases to invent, to create new additional services, because the demand is there. And the end customer doesn't want to buy technology, he wants to buy solution. And if we provide just the technology, there is a gap. So this is where we see an emerging new model we call hoster of hosters. Hoster of hosters is those who are structuring their offer to host competitors. And it makes sense. We are competing, but we are working together. And this model provides you an opportunity to rely on an hyperscaler provider, fully automated, open standard, cost competitive, and to focus all of your reallocation of cash to the added value services that you can create and differentiate yourself. So this is an emerging market, but we are very engaged in this one, and there is a lot of positive feedback. We have a lot of engagement in different countries in the world. So, to sum up this transformation of this industry, we see two trends. One, the leaders in terms of hyperscale, those who will continue to provide the physical, will continue to grow by more than 30% year on year in the next 10 years. But we see also a concentration of these actors because the CapEx investment is huge. The unit we are talking about is billion, not million, billion. because it's a huge requirement on capacity for CapEx. And we see on a worldwide basis, few actors having an hyperscale footprint of infrastructure today. I will not mention all of the nice competitors on this list. We don't see a lot in Europe. China is becoming big because the market, local market is very big. Some have not considered today how big these players, thanks to their local market, have been able to develop. But anyway, we have a list here of some of these very large hyperscale providers. What for the rest? The trend is that the small provider will continue to focus on MSP and added value services, but not on the infrastructure, because they will transfer to specialized leaders their infrastructure, and they will focus on this visible part of the iceberg. So this is a very important transformation on the market, and there is no good or bad, it's just a transformation in the value chain, because at the end, once again, the client is buying a solution. So we will specialize in the different part of the value chain: hosting, hardware, network, security, or added value, or SaaS, or IT services. But this is a focus on the infrastructure part. So now I think it's time to give an overview of what OVH is in this transformation, and a few slides just to explain where we are in our journey for this cloud revolution. First of all, we have a specific DNA thanks to our capacity to own all of the infrastructure as a pure player. We own our data centers. We don't rely on external provider. We build and own our servers. We build and own our data centers. We build and own our network. We don't rely on external network provider. We have our worldwide network connected everywhere in the world to capture and get easy access to our clients all over the world. In terms of capacity, we can host today 1.3 million physical servers in 27 data centers. In terms of network capacity, we have achieved more than 13 terabytes, which is very good when we have to absorb an anti-DDoS attack of 1.2 terabytes. So having 10x the size of what maximum attack of DDoS is about is good to absorb without creating any damage on your production environment. Network is key. What makes the difference? We are not a startup. We have 19 years of existence. Our current investment plan, as I've said, is 1.5 billion. It's very concrete. It's a very heavy domain of strong investment on CapEx. 2,500 employees in about 18 countries. So we start to be sizable and we grow very fast. It's a family-owned company, but we have two minority shareholders, KKR and Torbrook, since 2016. So they have been engaged to accelerate our investment plan for the new data centers that we have done over the last 12 months. But it's still it's a minority stake. Majority is family-owned company. In terms of differentiation, we have 4 key attributes which make for us a big difference because it's our commitment. First of all, we don't develop proprietary technology for hosting application and data. We use proprietary technology for the part which is not visible by the application. But applications never use an API or any technology which create a locking. So we are 100% industry standard, open source, or industry standard like VMware, Windows, and other. Second, automation. We have a huge continuous investment in our tools. We have about 500 engineers to manage our stack of software because everything needs to be fully automated. If you order a server, you click on the button, I order a server, 2 minutes later, the server is up and running and you can use it. If you set a complete VMware environment, with all of the network storage and so on. 10 minutes after, you have all of your VMware data center up and running, 10 minutes. Third, we are building our servers and data centers by your own staff. So we don't rely on an external provider of hardware. We have partnership with Intel. We have partnership with big actors at the component level, working closely with these big players on the joint R&D, but the assembly is done by your own staff. And the fourth is, we don't want to have a good first day and a bad end of month bill. It's all inclusive. When you have a price, you know what it is. When you have a proposal, this is what you are going to pay. And I would like to add one point, which is our commitment vis-à-vis your business, vis-à-vis the business of our client, vis-à-vis the data protection, vis-à-vis the intellectual property. And we are very, very engaged, and we are leading some of these associations, some of these initiatives to go further, because we are touching the critical, mission-critical activity of our clients. So we have launched CISPE, and if you have time to go, there is a booth for CISPE, which stands for Cloud Infrastructure Service Provider in Europe. Very important. We have also launched Open Cloud Foundation in October, and it's open for all of the industry, clients, provider, software, hardware provider, to create a cloud which is very, very secured in terms of keeping control at client level, in terms of data protection, in terms of reversibility, in terms of intellectual property, in terms of interoperability. So Open Cloud Foundation, it's started. If you go to the website, you will be able to subscribe. The idea is to sum up all of the standard and regulation to help the industry to mature and go faster, because this is a very important engagement for all of our clients to secure their investment. To sum up, we do that for a large variety of clients. We have a lot of startups, and we have a program. If you go to the website, the name is DLP, Digital Launchpad, and we host 1,200 startups in our incubator, 1,200 startups in the DLP program. So it's open for those who want to create a startup, go. We have a lot of digital native companies, thousands and thousands of digital natives that we see on a regular basis coming on. More than 1 million SMBs that we have all over the world. Since a couple of years, we have created dedicated resources and channels for large accounts. And as I've explained, the hoster business is becoming very significant. So we have a lot of good business and opportunity on this domain. We can't disclose the name because in most of the cases, the client wants to work in white label. So the final client is not aware that the hosting is done by OVH because it's white label, fully managed by APIs. So we have this variety of business, direct and indirect channels. And I think my time is, I'm over, so I'm sure you have questions. And I will be very pleased if you want to continue the talk and discussion. If you can do it now, I don't know if you have time for questions. Please, you can contact me via LinkedIn, via Twitter. You will find me easily, and I will be pleased to continue to engage any discussions that you have, any domain of interest. Thank you for your attention.
Laurent Allard. Laurent, thank you so much. Extremely interesting high-level view of transformation and the challenges and opportunities that it brings to us. Have a question. Of all the boldest moves I've read in the industry in the last 18 months was your acquisition of part of VMware's business. It was the equivalent of their shared hosting activities, if I remember.
It was all of the hosting activity, which was named vCloud Air.
vCloud Air.
vCloud Air, now it's fully part of OVH.
So think about that, everybody. Every other acquisition we've ever seen has been one of the big US global players who's acquired some local players. Here we see reverse M&A activity happening. Fabulous. That shows confidence, courage, bold moves for world domination.
Thank you very much.
Next time we talk about bass playing.
Yes, and bass played without accent. Trust me, I play bass guitar without any accent. Thank
I like
you.
the humor. Thank you, Laurent. Laurent Allard, ladies and gentlemen.